Hi guys, good evening. Welcome to a really weird division night. There's a couple of us here today, but don't worry, we've all got our 2 metre spacings, apart from those two.
What was that?
Just talking about it, not to you, thank you. Right, so tonight, initially we're going to talk about changes that are being brought about by COVID-19, and then George might have a little bit of input. He's shaking his head vigorously, as he normally does. But we'll play it by ear, see how we get on. Certainly, guys, if you've got any questions, I've got Kat being my director. Any questions, she'll relay through to me. There is obviously a delay, so it may take me a while to get to them, but don't despair. We do care about you. George is shaking his head. Anyway, so should we start off in the proper way? So, good evening, lads and lasses. Welcome to this live stream. If there is a fire alarm going off, get out of your house. Certainly, while we've been doing our training, we've been looking at the primary survey, which is the meat of all our first aid. Danger, response, shout for help, airway, breathing and circulation. Now, there are a couple of problems with that now. Airway and breathing, how the hell are we going to check those without opening ourselves up to COVID-19? So what I'll do first, I'll do the classic primary survey, and then hopefully as a group we'll look at how we can bring some changes about with our mandatory checks. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, my name's Neil, I'm a first aider. Hello, stand up, open your eyes. Help, can I have some help here please? Right, you're breathing, that's a good sign. I'm now going to check you over for any further damage. Starting at the head, patting you down to your toes. Apart from having no legs, you're alright, mate. Right guys, so as you can see there, when I was doing the airway and the breathing check, I was a bit close to the head. Any suggestions on how we can actually check inside the mouth without getting within 2 metres, I'll gladly take on board, but I'm struggling to think of that at the moment. For the breathing, or the airway opening shouldn't really be a problem. We can still apply 2 fingers underneath the chin and tilting the head back. We can look at the stomach, watching for breathing. We can even put our hands on the tummy nowadays, just to see if we've got any actual signs of life. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Danny's had a good idea with a mirror.
A mirror.
Face shield.
Oh, face shield.
You could wear a face mask.
You could wear a face mask. But
If you've got access to one.
Not everyone's got access to one. Not a stiff neck, thank you.
Use a mirror to view and see at an offline angle.
Okay. Instead of a mirror, we could probably use our phones then, maybe.
Kat says she believes on the ambulances now it's no, look, listen and feel. If they look dead, then they probably are.
Oh dear. God rest all our souls. Yeah, we could use... I like the idea of a mirror. You could probably use your phone, but obviously you'd have to keep it at arm's length. There's no feeling whatsoever, not even the tummy.
All she says is no, look, listen, feel.
It's all gone. Oh, word. Okay, so we are really scuppered in the world of first aid then, one would think. Any other suggestions from anyone else? Holly's drawing a blank. We're just happy with your brew. For that. No other suggestions?
Mirror also shows signs of breathing.
What was that one?
Mirror.
Mirror also shows signs
It
of
does.
breathing.
Unless you're a shallow breather or you've got narcolepsy, because it doesn't show up with that.
Personal protective equipment, PPE. Could we put something over the face, something lightweight?
Well, you're not going to be able to see, are you?
Oh, you might see the material going.
Move.
True.
Unless, of course, they're claustrophobic and then you give them a panic attack.
Well, if they're unresponsive, no panic attack because they're at the calmest they'll ever be.
Unless they revive and then you cause a panic attack.
Yeah, well, you only do it for your breathing check, George. I like the way that George said he wasn't going to get involved in those. I don't know if George's voice is being picked up. Probably not, because they're all forward-facing cameras. Curses. Right, so primary survey is going to be a bit of an issue for us. Oh dear.
Put a balloon on their mouth.
Put a balloon in their mouth.
Was that
If
Mike?
they're blowing it up there. Well, it could be because Danny said she was watching and Mike was typing. So it's probably Mike's idea.
Yeah, Mike, thanks for the balloon job.
You heard George.
Yeah, so it's going to cause us some great concerns, isn't it? What else haven't I been using all the way through that
Gloves.
demonstration? Yeah, so gloves is key. We have to be doing all our stuff, all of our first aid with gloves. Whereas if we're dealing with a normal responsive casualty, yeah, gloves is the way ahead now for absolutely everything. I believe have you got a good supply of gloves in your store? So if you're a bit light on gloves and you haven't got any in your pockets, George has got loads in store, so coming down without talking or touching anything, you can help yourself to the gloves. This is really, really hard to do when you've got so many people sniggering in the background, but it's all good. It's all good. Right.
Put the party blower in their mouth, and that comes from Max.
From Mags. In fact, here's one. Mags, any Viking solutions? Probably chop the head off, and if they talk to you, they're alive. I don't know.
The only other way around it is if somebody else in the house, because they would have been, so for instance,
Yeah. So we could actually, Danny style actually. Danny's got her
remote instruction.
remote instructions. We could probably, if it was a family member, we could direct them to do all the checks, and that would make it hands-free first aid, which would be safer for us out and about, and certainly easier for a family relative or a relative because they've been in close proximity all the time. So if they are infected with COVID-19, it shouldn't really be an issue for them. Okay, so primary survey on an unresponsive casualty is going to be a nightmare, but we've got the mirror, we've got balloons, we've got party flowers, and I think a really good suggestion is using family members. I think that might be one of the better go-to things. Certainly we are stymied a bit if we come across someone and they're completely on their own, but we'll make do with what we can. Okay, so primary survey stuff sort of sorted there. CPR techniques also going to change. Current or our old policy was 30 compressions to 2 rescue breaths. Certainly if you haven't got any intubation kit, that's a big no-no, so it'll be compression only.
What happens if you've got a face shield with you?
If you've got a face shield and you're willing to use it, I would still urge against it, certainly if it gets wet on their side, because that's an issue.
In the
with
hospital,
COVID-19.
they are saying CPR only.
Even in the hospital, they're saying CPR only, and that's until they get the eye gels into them. Yeah, so CPR technique on the chest. Certainly there will be some gasps and groans coming from the casualty. It's not the done thing covering the face over, but you'd have to err on the side of caution as best as you can with that. Right, so COVID-19 is causing us a massive issue with regards to first aid. Okay, what else were we going to do? Just general treatment of casualties, yeah.
Gloves.
Glove up all the time. Certainly if you're doing any work on a casualty, preferred method is not face-to-face at the moment. If you can go side-on and maybe get them looking away from you, so you're reducing the risk of any coughs and sprays that way, that'll keep you guys safe on the ground as well. Okay, so
And switch sample around. Start off with the event history first. That way you can find out where they've been before you start treating
I
them.
always start with E first. As I'm walking into a scene, assessing the area of danger, I'm trying to figure out what the heck's happened as well. So yeah, sample is just the Suggested route, you can freestyle that and do any old way you want. So but yeah, certainly if you pick up on event history first, that should give you some good clues before you progress any further towards your casualty and break that 2 metre mark. Okay, right. Any questions come up on?
Not questions, just comments. Chest compressions with gloves, LOL, that's from Dawn. Kiri said, for us here frontline we have to wear double gloves, a respirator and goggles now for all patients, all hospitals treating them as COVID-18. What's COVID-19?
It's COVID-19. It's been upgraded since your last check, Kiri. COVID-18 was so 2 years ago now. Okay, right. So we are going to have some major issues. I don't think we've got enough goggles and masks for people, have we?
We've got some, but most of the ones I had in stores have been issued out.
To the ETAs and the UTS guys.
Not you personally.
I've only got one pair.
Yeah, when you use it, you get a new pair.
Not the goggles.
Not the goggles.
No.
Where to disinfect them after each patient.
Okay.
But the masks and the aprons are simple.
So what we can do, George, you had some suggestions from scenarios type things.
I was going to talk through different types of what would you do if you came across.
I like those. Okay, so what we can do, George, if you speak up loud enough so the cameras can pick you up, you say a suggestion.
Dawn says it's never too early for a brew break.
It's all right. You can always watch later as well. I'll save this as a video on the group. So what would your first conundrum be, George?
You come across a lone person with a burn on their forearm.
A lone person with a burn on their forearm. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll open it to the floor and to the guys behind their screens. I think I've got a plan.
Where is this lone person though? Are you on the street?
Yes.
Stony silence here.
Oh, you don't have to get too close to get water on you, do you?
If you're on the street, is there a source of potable running water, George?
Yes.
Okay.
Get them to go to the source of water. Instruct them how to keep it under the water and everything like that. Just go through the normal process. You don't have to get close to them to be able to do that.
Okay, so how long do we do the water for?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, minimum of 10 minutes. Okay, got to be clean flowing potable water. Is there anything else that we could use as well if there is no running water available?
One of the burn jam things if you have one.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think I've used our stock up in the room.
Can you repeat the question?
Which
Can you repeat
question?
the scenario?
The scenario was, how would you treat a casualty with a burn on their arm out in the public? I'm really delayed. So the question should have got through by now, and the answer should come piling in. After they've heard all the answers from us.
Kat said she was listening, honest.
She was listening.
Amy says burn gel.
Burn gel, burn gel, burn gel. So waters you go to, burn gel's the next option. Aftercare, where are we going to send them nowadays?
Ramsey Cottage.
Yeah,
Depending.
yeah. We used to be heavily reliant on sending minor stuff to the chemist. However, there are cases of chemists coming down with COVID-19 after having a little chat with somebody in one of their consultation rooms. The go-to now is everyone goes over the hill to Ramsey to the minor injuries unit at the cottage, and then they're meted by some more stressed out than usual nurses because everything minor is now being shipped over the hill to them. Okay. So give yourself a pat on your back if you've got all of those right. Shall we see if George had any other different plans? George, was that fairly close to your plan? Good. He is nodding, which is really handy behind the camera on a live stream. Okay, so have you got another scenario for the guys to think about, George?
You come across a person with a head injury that's unresponsive and lying on the floor.
So if you didn't get that, what are you going to do if you come across a casualty with a head injury that is unresponsive on the floor?
PPE if you've got it.
PPE if you've got it. So Sarah J.
Breathing or not, question mark from Cat.
Breathing or not, question mark.
Breathing.
Sorry, before.
Breathing, says George.
Have we got bleeding from head injury?
Yes.
We have
That'd be
bleeding.
PPE.
We have bleeding from the head injury, so definitely PPE.
Ring 999 from Amy. DR ABC from Dawn. And what's the key for
I
grab?
think he's trying to say breathing there.
Breathing
Who's
from Dan.
Mike's spelling has gone atrocious.
Mike's spelling's gone atrocious. Is Mike, firstly, is he drinking? And secondly, has he got his clothes on? Because he said he was going to watch this naked. I just wanted
He's
Mark-
changed it to buffering,
to buffering.
so maybe the video's not buffering properly. Maybe.
Okay.
Margaret wants to know are they on their front or back? And Cat wants to know how bad is the bleed?
On their back, and the bleed's not that bad, it's just running slightly down the forehead.
So they're on their back, and the bleed's not so bad, it's just slightly running down the forehead. Okay, so my immediate action plan would be recovery position if they're breathing. Roll them injured side down, so I might actually stick it, because George was indicating to his forehead, so I'd stick a pad on it, roll them over, and then just keep it all in place while we're waiting for the paramedics to arrive. Doing my... How often are we supposed to do observations on a casualty?
Every 10 minutes?
Every 10 minutes? Every 10 minutes, but if you're in the vicinity and you've got nothing else to do, just keep doing checks. All good. Scenario 3, George, you got another
Heart
scenario?
attack.
Heart attack.
Suspected heart attack.
Suspected heart attack.
Are they
Okay.
responsive at this time?
They are responsive.
Yes.
They're responsive.
Can anyone remember online the action plan for suspected heart attack? With the guys in the room,
W position, aspirin 999 from Caroline.
which position?
W.
W position, aspirin 999. In that order.
That's what she says. In that order, ask
If they've got angina.
Yeah.
and
So
medication.
previous medical history. Have they got angina? I
Does it feel as
wouldn't
the norm?
if it was normal for them, but if they're clutching the chest saying it's never happened before, it's treble 9, it's aspirin if we can get it, it's Fowler position or W position, and then just watch them, prepare for CPR, but just keep track of them until hopefully the paramedics arrive before they check out, which is a technical medical term to stop breathing.
Dawn says, ask has it happened before?
Yeah.
Michael says, ask if you've had same thing, previous cardiac conditions. Sarah says, we're still here, quality just keeps changing with buffering, so that's probably why they're...
Okay. That's everyone else at home streaming rubbish box sets at the moment. So change your internet provider.
A few of them have said consider angina.
Consider angina. Certainly if it hasn't happened before, you could think about angina route, but pressure's off us because our action plan is straight up treble 9 for a suspected heart attack. Yeah. My clue would be, oh, no, it's all right, it's my angina playing up. Them telling me before I even start going crazy, doing all my first aid stuff. That would be my trigger to go down the angina treatment route. Okay. So, did everyone else get something similar online and in the room? Good. Pat yourself on the back then. I'll turn this into Watch with Mother soon. Bring out dollies and stuff. Okay, has George got another scenario in his repertoire?
RTA.
RTA.
Yes.
As in road traffic accident. There's no such thing as accidents, George. Somebody's to blame. So it's an RTC nowadays. So, road traffic collision. Firstly, scene safety. Am I safe?
Yes. There's 2 casualties.
2 casualties in the car, okay.
No, one's in the car, one's in the middle of the road.
Was the one in the middle of the road in the car previously? George is nodding with a huge, insane grin on his head. Okay, so scene safety for me sorted, scene safety for the casualties, a nightmare. Because one person, as George has just said, is in the middle of the road.
Cat says danger.
Big time danger. So how can we make the scene a bit safer for the casualty?
Try and stop the traffic.
Now, legally, we're not allowed to stop traffic.
Divert.
Yeah, slow down or divert. There is a technique called shielding, where you can actually, if you are in a vehicle, you can park your vehicle at an angle, hopefully not shutting down the traffic, but give yourself sufficient room to protect yourselves and the casualties while you're working. So, who's priority casualty number 1 then?
First one.
Right. Well, the first question is, who's making noise? Is the person that's still in the car squawking?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, they're last on my list then. Is the person in the road squawking?
Not a peep.
No, there we go. So we have straight away our triage done on the casualties. So we go through what process to assess them again?
But it's still doctor's ABC.
Still doctor's ABC. Keep it a first aid, isn't it? We keep going over and over again. So we do our primary survey on the casualty in the road. Are they breathing, George?
Yes.
They are breathing, okay. Recovery position if I don't find any other injuries. So, are you scratching your neck or are you indicating spinal injury? Am I on my own? No? 2 other people. Okay, put that person in recovery position, get them to watch him and move on to the next person. You need at least 4 people to do log roll. Okay, so what's up with the other person in the car then?
Broken arm and leg.
Hurty feelings. Okay, back to unresponsive person in the road. Broken arm, no other damage. Is the engine off?
No.
Turn it off. Is the handbrake on?
No.
Get that on. Have all the airbags deployed.
No.
Okay, stay out. It's so easy, this. Pragmatic. Anyone else got any input? Is there any input coming on?
Primary survey. And Lottie's asking, are you okay? Because you're on the floor.
Am I okay?
Yeah.
Well, I get up, but my feet have gone to sleep, I'm afraid. Oh boy, they've really gone to sleep. Yeah, I'm not really. Shall I have a go standing up?
And why are you being shy?
Yeah, my feet are officially dead. Still in shock? Yeah, I am. Below that. Okay. Right.
Danny says risk of fire, fuel leakage.
Yeah, so that's one of the key reasons why we turn the engine off. It's a source of heat that is very, very likely to set off the brake fluid, which, as we all know, is more flammable than the fuel inside the car, don't we?
Do now.
I've got to see the needles kicking.
Dawn says you're getting old.
Who said?
Dawn.
Dawn. Right, we'll have words, Dawn, when we're allowed to have words. Oh, God. Both feet. Pins and needles. This is not funny.
It's hysterical.
It's like standing on 2 pin cushions.
Dawn's laughing.
I bet they're all off.
Yeah.
Okay. How long was it down on the floor then? I lost track of time. Oh man, this is not good. I do Charleston for a little while.
Dawn says have a dance.
Yeah, the dance over it.
Mike's asking whose mess tins did you use to iron that shirt?
Right, okay, if it starts getting abusive, guys, we can end the feed and then we're going to have to go it alone.
Just like you're still bending your knees, you've only just run to the door now.
Yeah, but we've just had the feedback from Mike. Yeah, so they're getting all this. Okay, so road traffic incidents. Predominantly, the time that we get involved with them the most is TT. What is it now? 427 days? TT? Something like that. Did have a running track of it, but I've lost count. Okay. So, with RTCs, your safety obviously paramount, then the scene safety and the casualties. Make sure that anything that's still, like engines running, gets switched off. Cars, vehicles get immobilised, so you might have to look at handbraking on. Certainly if you can get anyone in the vehicle to do that for you, that makes it safer. Especially with, the reason that I asked about the airbags is because they do have a habit of going off a little after the incident as well. So what we're advised to do, certainly by the fire rescue guys and the road traffic police guys, is never go in beyond your elbows. Okay, don't stick your head into the cab, because if an airbag goes off, it will propel your head through the casualty's head, and then you'll have two really badly injured people. Okay, so casualties. I did the triage purely based on breathing initially. That's why it was suggested we go for the quiet one in the middle of the road first. I came across as fairly, what's the word when you blow something off?
Blasé.
Blasé, that's the word. French for blow, isn't it? George, sorry mate. So yeah, airways king. If I haven't got enough people to perform the log roll, bearing in mind that whoever's holding the head is stuck there, I'm not going to entertain it with anyone less than any number less than 4. Okay, casualty in the car, they're in a big safe metal box with a broken arm and a broken leg. That'll be down to the paramedics to extract them, hopefully using KED or other systems. Which Go on then.
Michael's asking a question. If you suspect the casualty in the car of having a spinal injury and it's safe to get in the back, should you secure the head?
If it's safe to get in the back, you bear in mind we've got 3 people on the scene that can actually do stuff, as George was kind enough to give us 2 bystanders. If you're not involved with the casualty on the floor, the casualty in the car can be stabilised by sitting on the back seat, only if it's safe. Bear in mind there could be broken glass all over the back seat. Reaching over the headrest and pulling the head back towards you and just locking it in position. Okay, but you will be there for some time, and probably because the fire rescue guys will assume the responsive casualty has got a spinal issue as well. You're gonna be stuck in there till they cut the roof off, or make some sort of exit strategy by cutting out the pillars of the car and peeling the side open. Okay, it's totally down to them on scene. Okay, so car crash done, I think. A lot of waiting around for the emergency services. All of them will turn up to that one. And just to let you know, I now have feeling back in my feet. Good. George, have you got anything equally devious?
Just a little old lady lying at home.
Little old lady lying at home.
On the floor.
On the floor
In
COVID-19 times. Okay, so why are we going to her home then? Is it a little old lady that we know?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, are there any pets?
Yes.
Yeah, how do you know? You don't know the little old lady I know.
Do I know?
You might do actually. Yeah. Okay, so little old lady lying on the floor at home.
Mm-hmm.
Event history. Is there anything obvious in the room?
No.
Nothing obvious in the room. Is there any strange, well hang on, I was about to say strange smells, but it's a little old lady's house, so yeah. But heating system, gas. It's a gas.
Yes.
Is the pilot light gone out?
No.
No. So she has not been overcome by fumes.
No.
So it's safe for me to go into that room. Okay. Temperature, what's it like in the room?
Warm.
Warm, okay. Rules out hypothermia. Primary survey on her. Any other dangers?
Oh, it says shut pet in other room.
Yeah.
Do you already see from Dawn?
Has she got that on copy paste? Okay, so primary survey, danger, no obvious dangers, response.
Confused and dazed.
Okay, so she's actually talking but not making a lot of sense.
She's just very, very confused.
Very confused, but talking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's airway check, done, and breathing check, done. No outward signs of injury.
The ankle is severely swollen and bruised.
The ankle is severely swollen and bruised. Okay.
Mike
so-
just asked, is there any bottles of alcohol?
No, mother's at home.
That's a little old lady, isn't it? So swollen ankle.
Mm-hmm.
Are there rugs around?
No.
No. So has she had a fall?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Michael said check any electrical cables.
None.
No electrical cables, Mike.
Any medical alerts?
None.
Is there a green sticker in the hallway that we noticed on the way in?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Why am I asking about a green sticker in the hallway?
Oxygen?
No.
No.
Bear with me.
People have been putting different colours in their windows to say if they're infected or
Oh no, the community I'm okay, or the red one I need help. Now I was talking about a more specific green sticker. I didn't show you this on your poster. This little green sticker.
You might have to hold that closer to the camera.
I'm coming closer.
Actually,
Okay. I don't want to get too close because my screen will snap. How's that looking?
I don't know, there's a bit of delay.
Bit of a delay.
Yeah, they're saying diabetes,
No.
Tripped over the animal.
bad
Yes.
diet.
Tripped
Tripped over the animal.
Well done, Max!
Okay, because pets are a problem. So we're dealing with a little old lady that's had a fall. She's got a twisted or possibly fractured ankle.
Possibly fractured.
Okay. And there's no green pot in the fridge.
No.
Because what I was fishing for there, George said the casualty was confused.
Mm-hmm.
Inside these green pots that a lot of the more vulnerable people in the community have, is all their medical information. So it's got who they are, who their doctor is, any medical conditions, any long-term medication.
Are those still given out by the Lions Club?
They are still part of the Lions Club initiative, yes. So shout out to any lions in the area. Certainly,
They're available from the hospital in reception.
yeah, and we have a slack handful of these as well, which we certainly I'll give out on the carers courses. If you've not seen it, have a look. My hands are clean. Well, they were last time I touched my face. Oh dear, COVID-19. Yeah, so the green pot will give you a wealth of information if your casualty is completely confused. So we're dealing with a possible fracture. So we're going to stabilise it,
Mm-hmm.
immobilise it.
Dawn says reassure her.
Yeah, you're going to die anyway.
And
So-
call for help.
Pardon?
Call for help.
Yeah, well, certainly if we've been called into a little old person's house,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going to have to think about 999. She's non-walking casualty. They've got a wealth of pain-relieving drugs on there. Certainly, if we know her, we might have a bit of an inkling about her medical conditions and the medication she's on already. So look at that. Yeah, but certainly stabilise, immobilise. Get them off to Hossie. Job done. Just tricksy. See if we can find a link for the Lions Club pots. Back up in the
Used to be on the back of the tub. There used to be a number.
Yeah, there's a local phone number on the top of it, but I think there's a website on the actual top talking about Lions Club, so www.lionsclub.co.uk. Is that on the top there, Holly?
www.lions.org.uk.
Lions.org.uk. Okay, so we can do little links to them. Kat could probably push some out on the St John Facebook page as well. Super. So, it's got to that time. George has just done the letter T at me. I hope he's not calling me anything rude. What we'll do, we'll have a little tea break at this end.
Steve Crow's only just started watching.
Pardon? Who's just started?
Steve Crow.
Steve Crow, welcome. Bit late, mate. We're going for tea break now. So we're going to have a 15-20 minute break, but I will announce just before we come back on when we're going to start the second part of this online division night. Okay, so see you in a bit, guys. Bye bye. Hi guys, we're back again. Second part isn't really first aid related. It's where we're going from here. What are we going to do on the streams? What are you guys actually expecting to happen? Velcro, I love Velcro on the streams. Who you'd like to see on the streams? Now, there are certain people that are shaking their head furiously here. I won't tell you who he is, but I'm sure you can guess by the laughter in the background from him. Muttley impersonator that he is. Okay, so my vision for the watch party style unit meetings, we're going to throw it up to every member on the island, so we might switch to the public duties Facebook group. I'm hoping you're all part of that one as well. If not, Kat, I'm sure, can put up the public duties name and you can browse it that way. Kat's the admin for that, if I'm right. I'll have to wait 30 seconds for confirmation of that, but she can accept you if you're not already on. She can, says George, silently with a thumbs up. So, if we can do it on the public duties page, obviously we'll keep the language clean, thank you Mike, and we'll get all sorts of topics covered there and regular updates as to where we're standing as it is with COVID-19 and the state of the island. Kat sent out an email talking about the backup that St John's going to be doing for the island. Obviously the EMTs will be helping out with the ambulance crews, the UTS guys will be doing extra big shifts, and they're now looking to get the UTS service going for 7 days a week, I believe. So anything we can do to help support those guys, we'll certainly look to doing as well. But certainly for the prescription delivery service, there's already a big uptake on it. I spoke to Linda this evening, and they've had over 60-70 calls today just inquiring. And that's with the due date of us delivering that service being the 1st of April. So we've got a lot of interest in it, so hopefully we can get a lot of interest from our side so we can actually run it effectively and efficiently without burning ourselves into the ground, and we can help look after the island in our own particular way. George is hinting that counts towards duty hours as well.
Kat wants to say the CFRs have been amazing too.
The CFRs, yeah, we can't forget the superheroes out in the public. They have been amazing. They're all being asked to do extra shifts if they can, even if it's for a couple of hours, and I believe there's been a massive uptake on that too. Right, so throwing it over to you now. What I'd like to see in the comments is suggestions for topics you'd like to cover. Suggestions for guest speakers. I have noticed a certain Mr. Crow in the crowd on the previous film. I don't know if he's on this one as well, but we'd be delighted to have a 2-metre distance chat with you, and any serious input you can give us with regards to how IMAS are operating and how you expect the St Johners out in the public to carry out certain protocols now. I'll just quickly go around the room with the physical people. Has anyone got any suggestions, queries, questions or problems? No? Is Kat happy?
Yes.
Yes. Message from Kat. Yes, we can pass on a message from
She
Kat.
would like to apologise. She hasn't had a chance to respond to anyone's emails yet in regards to the interest for the prescription service not being heard.
You probably are. Yeah. So, Kat, no apologies needed. You're busy. You're tied up with IMAS. You're also fielding all the broken down duties. I certainly know that Linda has been collating information in your absence, so it is happening. Guys, yeah.
She is going to respond, and she also says we're all amazing.
So, thank you very much for saying we're all amazing. Some are more amazing than others.
And
Not
George
me.
is told to get in front of the camera.
Yeah.
George has been told. Who's requested George there? Michael, who is apparently wishing to rejoin at this number 2. So we'll make George do a little twirl, or I'll catch him unawares at some point, just for the guys who are missing George.
Dawn, Tony and Amy would like to discuss medical gases.
Med gases. Oh. George has done an index finger. He's now covering. It was an index finger. He's now covering his face. Medical gases, certainly once Leslie's come out of self-containment, we can then approach her as Director of Member Training and discuss those key courses that everyone needs.
No, just saying about people being in isolation and happy watching online.
Happy watching online. Okay. Right guys, so if I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. That brings new connotations to the phrase. We'll go for another Tuesday 7 till 9 on the next one, but this time we'll see if we can go through the public duties one, get more the homebound members on other units joining us. We'll try and get some sort of party vibe going with your comments, but certainly Mr. Ryan, keep it clean. Trousers on, please.
Dawn's saying she misses her hugs.
She does. Well, here's a big air hug for anyone that wants it. Even Caroline. This is as close as she's happy to get to me generally. Yeah, don't worry. The bad times will be over, and we'll all be back together with each other, causing mayhem and havoc fairly soon, I hope. Okay. So from the guys in the room to the guys out there, ciao, adios, and see you next Tuesday.